Across our remarkable planet, human cultures have blossomed in a breathtaking diversity of forms. The ways we live, the foods we eat, the stories we tell are shaped by the unique landscapes and histories around us. For many of us, the idea of living without clothes can seem unfamiliar, even surprising. Yet, in certain corners of the world, for some indigenous communities, it is a way of life as natural as the air they breathe. To understand this, we must set aside our own assumptions and approach the subject not with judgment, but with quiet, respectful curiosity. This is not a story about right or wrong. It is a journey to understand difference. Why do some women, and indeed entire communities, live without what many of us see as essential? The answers are not simple. They are woven into the very fabric of their existence, connected to the heat of the sun, the beliefs of their ancestors, and the practical demands of their environment. To truly comprehend their world, we must move beyond our initial reactions and seek a deeper, more thoughtful perspective. It is a chance to see humanity through a different lens and perhaps learn something profound about ourselves. Throughout this exploration, our guiding principle will be respect. These are not exhibits in a museum. They are vibrant, living communities with rich inner lives, complex social structures. Our aim is to understand their world on their terms, to see daily life as they see it. We will avoid sensationalism and shame, focusing on calm, clear facts. By doing so, we honor their humanity and open our minds to the vast spectrum of human experience. This journey matters because understanding and empathy are more crucial than ever. As cultures meet, there is a risk of misunderstanding or of one way imposing on another. By learning about different traditions, we build bridges of respect. We acknowledge there is no single correct way to be human. Instead, a magnificent tapestry of cultures exists, each with its own logic, its own beauty, its own inherent right to exist. Let us now begin our journey with open hearts and open minds. Let us begin. One of the most immediate and practical reasons for not wearing clothes is the climate. Many of these communities are found in the warmest regions of our world, in the dense rainforests of the Amazon, the sun-drenched savannas of Africa, or the humid islands of the Pacific. Here, the sun can be relentless, and the air thick with moisture. In such conditions, layers of fabric can become a burden. They trap heat and sweat against the skin, discomfort, chafing, and even skin infections. For people who have lived in these environments for countless generations, forgoing clothing is a simple and effective adaptation. Life in these regions is often intimately connected to water and earth. Daily tasks might include fishing in rivers, gathering food from the forest, tending to crops in muddy fields. Clothes would quickly become soiled, torn, or waterlogged, hindering movement and requiring constant maintenance. Imagine trying to swim or wade through a stream in heavy, wet garments. Without them, the body can move freely through the water. It can dry quickly in the sun and breeze. This is a practical choice, born from a deep and intuitive understanding of the environment and the demands of daily survival. Furthermore, the materials to make durable clothing may not have been readily available, or may have required immense effort to produce. Garments from bark, from leaves, from animal hides. These are often reserved for ceremonial purposes, for protection during specific tasks, or for cooler weather. For the simple, everyday business of living in a hot and humid climate, the human body's own remarkable ability to regulate its temperature is often the most efficient solution. The skin is a surprisingly effective barrier, and generations of exposure have adapted it to the local conditions. This practical approach to life is a testament to human ingenuity. It shows how we, as a species, have found ways to thrive in every conceivable environment on Earth. What might seem like a lack of something, in this case, clothes, is, from another perspective, a display of perfect harmony with one's surroundings. It is a state of being that is unencumbered, efficient, and deeply connected to the natural world. It reminds us that our needs are often defined by our environment, and the simplest solution is frequently the most elegant one. Beyond the practical considerations of climate, the choice to live without clothes is deeply rooted in culture and belief. In many of these societies, the concept of the body is fundamentally different from that in the industrialized world. Where some cultures see the body as something to be hidden, a source of shame or temptation, These communities often view it as a natural, integral part of the self, no different from one's hands or face. Nudity is simply the default state of being. It is not sexualized, nor is it considered immodest. It is quite simply normal. This perspective is taught from the earliest age. Children grow up seeing the unclothed bodies of their parents, their elders, and their peers. There is no moment of revelation or shame associated with the human form. In many of these cultures, the body itself becomes the primary canvas for expressing identity, status, and beauty. Instead of using clothing, people may use intricate body paint scarification tattoos or elaborate jewelry to signify their role in the community. These markings can tell a story, indicating a person's age, marital status, lineage, or spiritual achievements. A certain pattern of paint may be reserved for warriors, while a particular type of piercing might signify a woman who has borne children. The body is not concealed. It is decorated and celebrated as a living document of a person's life and identity. These traditions are often passed down through generations, embedded in ancient stories and spiritual beliefs. An elder might explain that their ancestors were painted by the gods, and to continue this tradition is to honor their creators and maintain cosmic balance. The lack of clothing in this context is not a void, but a space for cultural expression. It allows the important messages written on the skin to be seen and understood by all. It is a visual language that reinforces social bonds and connects the individual to their community and their history in a profound and visible way. To truly understand this way of life, we must listen to the voices of those who live it. Women, elders. An elder of a tribe in the Amazon basin might explain with gentle patience, "Our bodies are as the forest gave them to us. We paint our skin with the colors of the earth and the river. This is what makes us beautiful. This is what shows we belong to this land." Her words reveal a worldview where the body is not separate from nature, but an extension of it, a part of the living landscape. A younger woman, perhaps a mother tending to her child, might share a more practical perspective on her daily life. "Clothes would be hot and heavy when I go to the garden. When I carry my baby, our skin touches. He feels my warmth and I feel his. It is how we know we are close and safe. Cloth would be a barrier between us." This simple, powerful statement illuminates how the absence of clothing can foster a deep, physical intimacy and connection within the family. A bond that is felt directly, skin to skin, from the first moments of life. Stories from the past are also vital. An old man, a keeper of his people's history, might recount tales of the ancestors. He might speak of a time before outsiders arrived, a time when his people lived in complete harmony with their world. In the old stories, he might say, "No one wore the skins of animals or the threads of plants. To do so was to hide your spirit. Your true self was shown on your skin for all to see. To be open with each other was to be strong as a community." These oral histories reinforce the idea that nudity is linked to honesty, trust, and spiritual transparency. Of course, not all voices will say the same thing, especially in communities that have experienced contact with the outside world. A young person might express curiosity or a desire for the clothing they have seen visitors wear, seeing it as a symbol of a different, modern life. This creates a complex dialogue between generations. The elders strive to preserve the traditions that have sustained them for centuries, while the youth navigate a world of new possibilities and pressures. For millennia, many of these communities lived in relative isolation, their cultures developing and thriving according to their own internal logic. However, in recent centuries, the outside world has arrived, often with disruptive and irreversible force. Missionaries, traders, government officials, tourists has introduced entirely new ideas, technologies, values. One of the most immediate and visible changes brought by this contact is the introduction of clothing. Outsiders often bring with them their own cultural norms, including a deep-seated belief that the human body must be covered. This imposition of new standards can happen in many ways. Missionaries, acting on their own religious convictions about modesty and sin, have historically been a powerful force for change, distributing clothes and insisting on their use as a condition of conversion. Government policies, too, can play a role, with laws requiring clothing in schools, clinics for official interactions. This pressure, whether gentle or forceful, can create a profound sense of confusion and shame around a practice that was once completely natural. The body, once a source of pride and identity, can become a source of conflict. The introduction of a market economy also drives change. As communities become more connected to global trade, manufactured goods like t-shirts, trousers become available. These items can be seen as status symbols, markers of modernity and connection to the wider world. Young people, in particular, may be drawn to these new forms of dress as a way to express a new kind of identity, one that blends their heritage with global youth culture. This can create a visual and cultural gap between generations, with elders holding to traditional ways while the young embrace the new. This process of change is rarely simple or uniform. It is a complex negotiation, a constant push and pull between preserving tradition and adapting to new realities. In some communities, a hybrid style emerges, where traditional body paint and ornaments are worn alongside a piece of manufactured clothing. This blending is a creative response to a changing world, a way for people to navigate their shifting identity. It is a visual representation of a culture in transition, striving to hold on to its roots while reaching for its future. The story is not one of simple loss, but of complex, ongoing adaptation. As cultures change, come into contact with the global community, new considerations around health, new considerations around rights, new considerations around law emerge. From a health perspective, the introduction of clothing into a hot, humid environment can sometimes create new problems. Unwashed or damp fabric can harbor bacteria, fungi, leading to skin conditions that were previously uncommon. However, in some contexts, clothing can offer protection against new threats. Insect-borne diseases, increased exposure to the sun due to deforestation. The health equation is complex, with both potential benefits and risks. It is crucial to approach this from a position of partnership, not prescription. Western medical practitioners who work with these communities must listen and respect traditional healing practices. Many tribes possess a vast knowledge of medicinal plants, effective community health practices, and traditional treatments for illness. The best approach is often one of collaboration, where modern medical advice about hygiene or disease prevention is shared respectfully, allowing the community to integrate it into their lives in a way that makes sense for them without dismissing their own ancestral wisdom. The issue of human rights is also paramount. Indigenous peoples have the right to self-determination, which includes the right to maintain their cultural traditions. Forcing a community to change its way of dress is a violation of this fundamental right. It is an act of cultural imposition that presumes one way of life is superior to another. Global and national laws must be framed to protect the rights of minority cultures, ensuring they are not coerced into abandoning their heritage. This includes protecting them from intrusive tourism that can exploit their traditions for commercial gain. The legal frameworks of modern nation-states often clash with traditional lifestyles. This can lead to situations where people are penalized for simply living as their ancestors have for generations. Advocacy and education are vital to encourage governments to create legal space for cultural diversity. It is a matter of justice to ensure that people are not made to feel like criminals in their own land, simply because their way of life differs from the majority. Our journey into the world where nudity is a part of life brings us to a simple yet profound conclusion: the importance of respect. We have seen that this way of life is not born from a lack of knowledge or resources, but from a deep, time-honored wisdom. It is a practical adaptation to climate, a rich form of cultural expression, a cornerstone of identity. To look upon these traditions with judgment or condescension is to miss the beauty and logic that underpins them. The first step, and the most important one, is always to seek to understand. These cultures, like all living cultures, are not static. They are in a constant state of flux, responding to internal pressures, responding to external pressures. The encounter with the outside world presents immense challenges, but it also showcases their incredible resilience and creativity. As we watch them navigate this complex new reality, our role should not be to dictate their future. Instead, it should be one of quiet support, offering help when it is asked for, and standing in defense of their right to choose their own path, whether that means preserving ancient traditions, embracing new ones, or weaving them together. The stories of these women and their communities hold a mirror up to our own world. They challenge our assumptions about the body, about modesty, about what it means to be civilized. They remind us that our own customs are just one of countless possibilities, shaped by our own unique history and shaped by our environment. By learning about them, we do not just learn about a distant other, we gain a new perspective on ourselves. We are reminded that the human family is vast and varied, and its diversity is one of its greatest strengths. In the end, the greatest gift we can take from this exploration is a sense of humility and wonder. The world is filled with people who see and experience life in ways we can barely imagine. Each culture is a unique repository of human knowledge, a library of stories, skills, philosophies. By approaching them with kindness, listening to their voices, and respecting their right to exist on their own terms, we not only honor them, but we also enrich our own understanding of what it means to be human on this extraordinary shared planet.